some of you young men who've been coming here recently and lately, who've just come to class, I'm going to give you a spiritual principle. Don't tell your crummy friends.
Questions, anybody? Yes?
So you've been working harder on yourself, and on what area?
I've just been watching my thoughts. When Vernon was talking tonight, I connected it with something that happened just before I came to school. I got angry at my son.
Sylvia, somebody new asked you, what is this class all about? How would you answer them?
It's a class on awareness. That's as close as I can to get to
More
describing
details.
it.
Class
Okay.
in awareness. What's that?
Well, being aware of where you are at the moment that you're there, not thinking thoughts of what happened yesterday or focusing too far on the future, being right where you are at the time you're there. Yes?
Do you have any predominant mood? And if so, what would it be? Predominant state?
I mean right now.
Or any time, just as you observe yourself?
Well, I think a lot about a lot of things. Just things keep going through my head. Yes?
How in touch are you with your feelings? Can you describe feelings inside of you?
Well, right now I'm pretty calm.
Time.
Vernon said early this evening that who do you love more, truth or your wife or your friend or the money? He said, no contest. There, I love more my money, truth, my job. I never were aware of that. That start a process in me in this half an hour that I was tasting. I don't want to go to that point when I'm going to taste truth, because it's, in this moment, no way. Another thing, when Vernon say about the crime rate in the town, growing up, I saw go and buy some locks and put it on my doors. It was like that. I am afraid to lose the young I have in my house. Any question? Yes.
Does that mean that you had a wrong reaction to what Vernon was talking about?
No.
If your mind went to the locks?
Oh, you mean when they said that the crime rate was going on in this town? No, the only thing I saw was going and buy some locks and put on the door. Yes.
Ernesto, is it hard for you to be alone with nothing to do?
I was 15 minutes in the apartment. I almost went crazy, you know. Yes.
Have you seen something clearly in yourself in the last 24 hours?
Well, I've been driving all day long, so I am sleepy or physically, right? So.
I want 3 volunteers for the same subject. 3 volunteers. Jim, 2, Amy, 3. We'll make Gordon 4. All of you speak on this same subject, please. All 4 of you for a minute and a half. The harm in a false cheerfulness based on worldly rewards. False cheerfulness.
What you're actually doing when you have a false cheerfulness is that you are playing a role. And when you're playing this role, you're trying to impress other people that this is the way your life is. And if you go along playing this role, you never can see beyond the role to see that you're not this image that you're trying to project to the world. And this class is to show us that we're not what we think we are. We're really vicious, cruel, hostile human beings. And we can't help but be this way because We're born asleep, and to be asleep is to be vicious and cruel, but we go around and play the role of the nice, happy, cheerful person. And we pretend that this is the way we are. So when something comes up in our life contrary to this, we won't even see it. We can't even see beyond the image that we are living. And when somebody tells us this, we become angry, which proves the point, but we don't see it. And you see this especially in positive thinking groups where people are always around smiling and they have a happy, cheerful face, and they're always saying how nice they are and how loving they are. But yet, behind the mask is a different person. And people can't see through this. And when we come to this class and they're told the truth, they become upset. And they wonder why. And they say, well, I resent what you said.
Good evening. When Vernon said, based on earthly rewards, false cheerfulness based on earthly rewards, my mind raced around for a minute to try to connect it. And I think I thought of something that does connect exactly. I was listening to a broadcast by a Christian radio station, I believe, and I think Reverend Sharp was talking about if you wanted this new Mercedes-Benz, to pray for this. If you wanted this success to happen tomorrow, pray for this. Then he went into our inner nature. He said, if you wanted to be treated in such a manner, you must be this kind of a person. And every reward he was suggesting was a temporal reward. It existed in time. It had nothing of any value, of any permanent value. A new car, a promotion at work, a new job, and it was all connected with what the person had to do right now to get this reward. He had to do several things. One was pray, one was aspire to be more pleasant, and the whole thing was false.
The earthly rewards the main earthly reward that hit me was friendship. If you smile at somebody, if you're real sweet and fond before people, they give you their friendship. That was the number one. And another one is money and all the materialism that go with it. That's all the world has to offer. And the phrase Vernon uses in here, selling your soul, applies to this, because every time we're falsely cheerful to somebody because we want something from them, some earthly thing from them, we sell our soul. And we don't even know I don't know about any of you, but I don't even know how many times I sold my soul today. I'm sure I did sell it today.
One of the tragedies of false cheerfulness have been with me most of my life is that if I get up in the morning, if I go out in the world and I put that on to get its rewards, there is absolutely no chance that I'm going to see the actual state that takes me out into the world. And I do. In our families, it is put on us so early before we even know, before I even knew, that in fact I did have a mask, a smiling mask to approach people. And it connects with what Vernon said earlier about protecting ourselves. And to put that on so that I will make my path smooth and protect myself will prevent me from seeing actually where that comes from, why I have the need to do that, why I must please the world. It's also impossible to see what the world actually is going to do to me. I've been with people in the past, some people we used to call street people, and they could pinpoint me quicker than I even knew they were doing it. They knew what that false smile would get them, and it was a very rude awakening.
4 volunteers on a different subject. 1, 2, 3, 4. Complete inner disgrace, our one chance. Complete inner disgrace, my one chance.
Complete inner disgrace to me means getting up here with nothing to say and having to face everyone, knowing that I can't, what Gordon said, put on a personality and hide behind it. Just letting you see that I don't really know anything, that I'm not what I appear to be. Everybody tells me that this is my only chance. Rather, Vernon tells me that this is my only chance. Everybody else will tell you that your only chance is to be as everyone else in the world is, so that you're not different inwardly. Inwardly, I'm just finding out that I'm not wonderful, and that there's no one in this room or in the world that's any different than I am, or any more scared. And that's disgraceful to me. I've been taught to be very, very brave, and there is nothing brave about me. I'll take any questions. Leland.
What is the chance?
What is the chance? I'm not quite sure, but I sense by being in this room and being close to the truth that there is a chance. I see a lightness that that I've never seen in anyone else, anywhere in the world.
Hi.
Complete inner disgrace is my only chance, is what he said. This connects very much with what the other subject was. In the world, everyone is striving to be number one in everyone else's eyes. And unless you live a life where you can see, in other words, to be inwardly disgraced means that you see yourself how low you really are. When you have complete inner disgrace, that means you have seen how low you are. And once you see how low you really are, then you have a real chance for something higher to come in. Because you, as you are right now, cannot raise your own level. You have to be so disgraced that you give up entirely, and that's where your chance is. I'll take any questions on that. Larry.
What is something for you to give up, Dave?
Wanting to be number one. Leland.
What is this higher level that you're talking about, Dave?
When Leland disappears through seeing how low Leland is, something else will come in. Call it whatever you want.
Can you think of any situation that you can tell us about in which you felt disgraced?
Whenever anyone doesn't smile when I expect them to, I fall apart. And that's disgrace. Jim?
Is it difficult to you to admit that you're wrong?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Complete inner disgrace is my only chance.
Talk louder, please.
The first thing that came to my mind is just seeing the day that I went through today, seeing what I was and the thoughts that went through me. I didn't see anything worthwhile or anything worth keeping. I had a terrible day, a lot of negativity. I'd like questions on that. Jim.
Lorraine, beyond that, do you still think that you're a pretty good person, aware of what is happening?
No, I don't consider myself real aware. I don't act out a lot of the wrongness inside of me. I don't know. Zena.
Did you find today that you're hoping tomorrow is going to be better?
Yes. Leland.
What value, if any, is there in outer disgrace?
To let people people see you as you really are so you can see yourself as you really are. It's very easy to hide and to lie to yourself. Yes.
How do you protect yourself from inner disgrace?
Not seeing what I'm really like.
Time.
I have to pass around.
Oh, all right. These four are the next volunteers. 1, 2, 3, 4. Lying about my actual condition is fatal.
Lying about my actual condition is fatal. We lie all day long, 24 hours a day. I lie about everything. And I lie to try to keep Pat in place. But the thing I don't see is that keeping Pat in place by lying is killing me. I feel the pain of it, but I don't really see it. If I saw it, I'd do something about it. The longer I keep lying, the more pain I'm going to be in. I refuse to see it. I refuse. Vernon always says that no human being would ever consciously hurt themselves. But why do I keep doing it? I do it over and over. Because, as Vernon says also, we love it. We love to suffer. Because when we suffer, we're the center of the universe. I heard Vernon on a tape today say that he was talking about depression, and he said, "You depressed little people, you all just love it. It is the height of egotism. You can sit in a little closet and say, 'Oh, I'm depressed.'" I'll take any questions on that subject. Judith.
Pat, when you say we lie to ourselves continually, also when we're standing up in front of the group, can you explain that more?
Yes, like for instance, when you get angry about something, and this happens all the time, and you can be with another person and that person can say, "Are you mad?" "I'm not mad." I'll tell you, you'll do that 10,000 times before you will once admit it. Try it sometime. Just once, just say, "You're right, I was mad."
Time.
Same subject also.
Lying about my actual condition is fatal. I don't think that I lie about my actual condition most of the time. Or if it's a lie, it's a hiding it, which is maybe a different kind of lie. I know in myself that I'm very miserable, and that I'm a miserable wretch. So my lie consists in covering it and hiding it from other people. And that's the lie that I live with.
What happens if you don't hide it from other people?
What happens is that my exalted images will fall down further than I want them to fall down. I want a self-image that is pleasing to me. Jim?
Are you appalled at what you see inside Nancy?
Yes, but you have, it's not always appalled in the right way. In other words, you can take pleasure in evil.
That's very good.
Mm-hmm. Richard?
What is good about having your self-image fall down?
Well, I would have the reward of not to have to pretend anymore. I would be able to relax.
Time.
Lying about my actual condition is fatal. We really have no choice but to lie. When we come into the world, our parents lie, everyone lies. So we have no choice but to live a lie throughout our entire lives, until we meet something like we have here. And possibly the new people really don't know what is here, because we don't understand fully what it is. But the first thing, the fatal part of it is that we're going to live a lie and die never knowing why we are here on earth. The first thing we have to do is just to do what we're taught here, apply the principles, and watch ourselves in our daily life. And we'll see for ourselves that we're living a big hoax, and everyone around us is doing the same thing. We really don't know what it is to be honest with ourselves. We can see little glimpses of our evil, but we really can't take much, not at all. Are there any questions? Stella?
An earlier assignment was to comment on false happiness. Would you comment on that?
Yes, that would have been great for me to speak on, because before coming to this class, and even after coming, this was one of my traits, was to be cheerful, falsely cheerful. And I think that's what made me come here, because I caught a glimpse of this. I caught a glimpse that the smile would go on when I wanted to be nice to people. And I saw that it was all phony, completely phony.
If I lie about my state, I'll never see it for what it actually is. In this class, you can't get away with your state like you can in the world. Everybody buys each other's moods. Harvey?
Is lying a demon that causes suffering?
Sure. Mary Ellen?
What benefit do you get from seeing your real state?
The opportunity to change. Billy?
How does one learn to tell the truth?
Seeing what's painful can't be right.
Mike, Rod, Regina, and Eleanor. Here's the subject. Here is how self-tormenting liars can begin to face their painful lies.
I just have a total blank on that. I have no experience at all in my thinking with how to face that. Could I get questions?
Okay, yeah, go ahead if you're too blocked. Then.
Go ahead.
Coming to this class would be, would you consider coming to this class a way of facing your faults, your falseness?
Absolutely, absolutely. Zena?
Have you learned anything about yourself since coming to this class?
The very first thing I learned as I approached coming to this class was that I was a member of the Sleeping Society, and I believe that's a very important thing to notice about yourself.
Right.
Larry?
Did you pretty well think before coming to this class that you was on a road up into heaven?
No, matter of fact, one of the things that came to my mind all through my life was the fact that everywhere that I turned, you could ask a scientist or a physician or a clergyman, what is the meaning of life? Nobody had the answer. One of the prime reasons that I'm here today is because I believe that when I read what Vernon had to say on that subject, that changing your nature is the purpose of life. I found one answer to the most nagging question in my life.
Here's how self-tormenting liars can face their painful lies. Was that it?
Yes, close enough.
Well, I noticed that every day I go to work, I'm leaving town at a certain time. And there's other people in the town who are jogging or going to the store or leaving town also for work at the same time. We all have a certain habitual pattern that we daily live with. In order for us to first begin to suspect that we are lying and that we are indeed tormenting ourselves, we have to admit that the way we presently live our life is in a strict pattern. And that's one thing we don't want to admit. We want to generally believe that we're much more original than that, and that certain aspects of our thoughts and our lives are valuable. And we have to begin to admit that maybe every pattern that I have in life is unnecessary or learned or not as valuable as I thought it was.
Here is how self-tormenting liars can begin to face their painful lies. First of all, we have to see what a mess we've made of our own life. If we can't even admit that our own lives are a mess and that we don't know what we're doing with our own life, we have no chance at all, and that's why the world doesn't have a chance. Only a very few people will say, I don't know where I'm going or what I'm doing with my life. Second of all, we have to start calling pain, pain, and suffering, suffering, and seeing it in ourselves and dropping the role of being happy now already. And thirdly, we cannot do it alone. The human mind is so completely self-deceived, there is no possible chance without an awakened man to guide us. And the only place I know where you can get that right kind of guidance often enough is right here in this class. I'll take questions. Mary Ellen.
Can you think of anything that you love more than truth?
Yes, my negativities.
Is there anything that you can think of now that you specifically lie to yourself about?
Lie to myself?
Lie.
Lie. Yes, I saw something tonight. I have begun to take on a cheerful role at work, and all kinds of things I saw through the discussion tonight.
Aye.
My whole life is, I live my whole life in torment, and I lie about it. I refuse to see that I am living in pure torment and fear. And just waiting to come up to talk tonight, I was just in pure torment, and I even forgot the sentence, and so it was be mentioned again. I forgot the assignment. Any little thing can take me away, any little thing. Just tonight, a lady asked me, she came up and asked me if I was Korean. Now that question just tormented me, I allow it to torment me. And then I lie about it. I says, oh, that was nothing. But all my life it's been like that. I'll take questions. Linda.
What's the connection as to why that would torment you? Why would being asked if you were Korean hurt?
I don't, it's an identification. I think that I am something else. And being categorized as Korean, I have an image of myself. I don't know how to explain that. Pat?
How can you begin to change that, to not go through those lies?
I can begin by dying to myself, dying to my false self. The images that I've grown up with and that I live now, I can see it and die to them.
A couple thousand years ago, the Romans threw the Christians to the lions. Nowadays, the Christians throw decency to the lions. Now, take the word Christian. Talk about deviltry. Talk about viciousness. Talk about pure hatred. If you call yourself a Christian because you want to be somebody, you are a devil, not a Christian. Now I'll carry that a little further. If you have moral standards and you call yourself someone who lives by Christ's teachings, or by the teachings of your church, or by your moralistic code that you picked up somewhere, if you are living from that, I want you to know that you are a hater of your own goodness. What you have done when you call yourself polite and decent, what you have done is taking that as a substitute for the decency and goodness of reality itself. Understand that naming yourself anything dooms you to the hell of its opposite. You call yourself good and you go out preaching sermons and running for public office so you can save the world. You wreck the world. Whatever goodness a human being attributes to himself, he is the exact opposite. Now you find out, this is a very subtle thing, and you don't see the depths of what I'm talking about. You don't know how you are tormented by your so-called moral standards, which make you hard and bitter, and you'd like to kick over the whole mess, wouldn't you? But you're afraid that if you give up your pseudo-goodness that you'll be bad. You're bad lying about your goodness already. To be separated from God is badness. How much badder can you get? You don't know what it means to be good, to be decent. And what you want is another form. You don't want the kind of so-called goodness you have now because it torments you. You can't go out and do everything you want to do. See, this is restriction. This is the prison cell morality. What you'd like to do is find someone, some teaching, and there are millions of them who will justify you being the devil that you are, so that you can behave like a devil and call yourself an angel. That's what you want, and that's how millions of human beings live. Now, if you don't see what I'm talking about clearly, it's still in you. If you don't see that anyone you meet out in that street will throw you to the lions for 5 cents, if you don't see that, you will throw someone else to the lions. And you do it all the time. I see you people right here in this room throwing each other to the lions, and you don't even know what I'm talking about. And it'll take 5 years for you to understand that, what I just said. Your state is your evil. Every time you talk to someone in a way to lean on them, you have thrown them to the lions because that's where you are. And you want someone else to help you fight the lions inside yourself. Why don't you get out of the arena? The door's open. You can walk out anytime you want. No, you prefer to stay there and fight so that you can call yourself a brave gladiator, a crusader for righteousness. You live by names. You live by descriptions. And you're afraid to give them up because you fear you won't know who you are. And that's right. You won't know who you are. And afterward you will. When you've given it up completely, when your mind is no longer feeding you lies about your good marriage. Now you've been faithful to your wife, and you lust after every woman you see. See what torment you're in. You have no morality, no decency at all. All you want to do is find someone or something to lean on. And you throw them to the lions and keep yourself in the cage too, the arena. You don't know the threat of the outside world, and you're not able to free yourself from the threat of the outside world. You're only able to fear it and cringe from it because the outside world is in you. You're all, this is too mild, but I'll think of a stronger word later maybe. You're all nothing but a pack of weaklings. You have no strength at all, not one of you. All you want to do is find someone to lean on, something to lean on. What a pity. What a pity that you don't understand. Atheists don't understand that there is such a thing as God. It's too bad that you're not letting God lead your life for you. You want your life? You want to be in the arena? All right, you can fight. You can fight the lions. Look at all the lions in your life. How many lions did you fight today? And if you're fighting the lions, you'll try to get anyone else into that arena to fight with you, to try to do your work for you. You want the glory of slaying the lions, but you want someone else to come in and help you and do the work for you. You don't understand what I'm talking about when I tell you to stop fighting and get up and walk out of the arena. There's a tunnel there. You can walk out anytime you want. You won't do it. You glorify your fear. You're so excited about your fighting and you're going to win over the lion tomorrow. It doesn't make any difference whether you win over the lion or the lion wins over you. It doesn't make any difference. You still remain in the arena to fight the next day. And you get up. You get up with a very strange contradiction every morning, don't you? You get up with the thrill and the expectation of getting hurt by the lions. I said you get up with the thrill and the hope and the expectation of getting clawed and roared at. That's your life. You're not a gladiator at all anyway. You're just another lion in the arena, fighting each other. I know that unless, and it's been said before, I've said it tonight, I know that unless God has called a human being to be saved, that he won't be, or her, man or woman, either one. I know that it's necessary to put out these truths, broadcast them, spread the seed, the word, as far as possible to everyone possible. Then certain ones will hear and understand. Certain ones will get a taste of that water we talked about earlier, and they'll say, this is different from the sand. I thought that sand was water, but now that I've had my first taste of water, I see that this is water, and how foolish I was to call sand water. No wonder I was thirsty. I know that a certain number of people, a certain small percentage of people, who hear what we're talking about here in these classes, a certain percentage will taste water. Just 1 teaspoon at first is enough, because you can then see the difference between a teaspoon of water and a teaspoon of sand. You can see the difference. I know that truth, God, will lead a certain number of people to where the water starts to flow, and they will actually take it and drink it. Others will look at it and call it sand. Most so-called Christians, devils, will look at the water and call it sand. A certain number of people, and this is all very personal to all of you here in this room tonight. What do you think about what's going on here? I see 2 or 3 new faces for some new people. What do you think that's going on here? Now, I'll tell you what's going on. I'll tell you that you've heard the pure truth here tonight. What are you going to do with it? But I also know, for the 3rd time, I'm very glad that I don't have the responsibility for saving any one of you. I know that according to what God has decreed, to put it that way, some of you here in this room will go out of here and forget what you've heard. No, you won't forget it. It's too late for that. It'll be back in your mind somewhere for the rest of your life. Every one of you in this room, you'll never forget what you've heard here tonight. You'll try, but you won't succeed because you've heard the truth and it'll nag you. In that case, you only have one choice, but to come back either with books or tapes or here personally and begin to hear the truth that could set you free from your present wretched, miserable, hateful life, which you'd like to get rid of, but you don't know how, and so you just hate it. How stupid to just hate when you can change something. Good night.